In this video, I'm going to cover how to put together a basic, simple planning schedule for a work or office role. So here's a basically completed example. You can see we've got the whole year down the side here, and the months delineated so we can find the months fairly easily. Major dates such as public holidays, committee dates are put in here. And different aspects of the work role or projects are in separate streams next to one another. So it's possible to easily use your eye at a particular time period and see how they interact, what kind of planning you might have to make, what contingencies, and just generally get a sense of your workflow and upcoming issues at a glance all the way through the year. Start with a blank workbook, and we're going to make a small column here. This will be for the months, and then a wider column here. This will be for the full dates and the days, and then as many columns as you need for different activities, projects or responsibilities you might have in a role or in a day-to-day responsibility. So let's just pull out, say 6, we'll select 6, drag the last one out here, and that'll make 6 even columns. Put your first date in here. So we'll start at the beginning of the year, 1st of the 1st, 2020. So you could start at any time during the year, of course, or do segments of a year if you wanted to. The first thing you want to do with that date is format that. So go into the number area, select the date category, and you want this one here, which is shows the day of the week and then the full date. Say OK. Obviously got to pull that out a little bit more to make that visible, like so. Now I'm going to create the rest of the year. It's as simple as dragging. You see there's a little square down here. We can drag that out to create the next sequence of date all the way down to the end of the year. I'm going to make the screen a bit smaller when I do that, and just drag that down, and we want to go all the way down to December the 31st. And there you have it. Let's pull this out a bit more. I'm using the Control Home key to go to the top of the spreadsheet here. Now the next stage is I'm going to delineate each of the working weeks. Now, probably unless you're scheduling things on a weekend, you don't need the weekends to be included in the scheduler. And that will mean that the whole spreadsheet will be a lot shorter, easier to navigate through. But before we actually take those out, I'm going to add borders to delineate the weeks, which means when we take the weekends out, that we'll have nicely delineated bordered weeks all the way down. So let's start with the first week of the year here. Select those, go to border, and I want to put a top and bottom border like so. You see there it is. And now I'm going to go through and select each week, and as with all of these videos, I emphasize the F4 key will repeat the last action in most Microsoft Office products. So I'm selecting the next week, pressing F4, and there we get that, and then go to the next one, F4, and you have to go all the way down through that. It's a little laborious, but of course you've only got to do that once for a yearly planner. Once you've gone all the way through down to the end of the year, we want to delete the Saturday and Sunday. So I'm going to select those, right click and delete. And again, I can use the F4 key, so select the next weekend, press F4, press F4, select, press F4. Of course, you can also use the delete individually if you need to or want to. Now notice that because I put those borders on first, now each of the 5-day working week has a nice border delineating it, which will help us see the weeks when we're looking through the planner. Next, add the months delineation. So I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, and I'm going to grab the first month, so January all the way down to there, and give that a background shading. So I might use this blue here, and then go to the next. I'm going to leave a month out because we're going to alternate shading to make it a bit clearer. So I'll go to March, and you can use Shift, click Shift, and click again. Or of course you can drag like so. Will have the same effect. And again, I'm going to use the F4 key. And I'm going to take in May. So press F4. When I've gone all the way down through, I can then do the other alternate months. So in this case, I might want to make them a darker color, like so. And Shift, click like so, F4. And once I've done that, I want to select the entire column and make the font white. That's so when I put the month labels in, they'll show up against the dark background. So I'll put in Jan there, and Feb can go in here. Might want to also make those bold, so use the Control B for the bold, and so on all the way down the planner. I've added the first column, putting in major dates like public holidays, but you can also put in like major committee dates, for example, in there, or personal dates if you need to. And add along the rest of the x-axis here whatever your other projects or activities are going to be. So say conference, for example, trade shows, and so on. Here I've added several streams of activities or projects. I've also created a color background with white text, which means that we can use these colors to block out blocks of time or events, and see what they relate to. Another useful thing is to actually freeze pane. So we select on this row here, the row below the row we want to freeze. Click on that, go into View and Freeze Panes, and click on Freeze Panes. And now we'll be able to see all the way down what these actual row headings relate to as we're going through. Back to a more complete example. Now you'll see here for example, for a committee meeting, what I've done is I've got a committee meeting that date, so I've scheduled in when to send the agenda out, when to send a call for agenda items. Here's a trading or training event, and I've put in the activities scheduled before and leading up to the event, which helps with the planning process. And you'll see other examples all the way down through here. Here's a building move we've come up with, so when they have to have the packing done. And of course, with something like this, we can see, well, there's actually a training event happening during the move, so what contingencies might we have to make sure that the materials aren't packed in the boxes, that kind of thing. And also further down here, we've got the conference, so courier out materials finalized and reproduced, and so on. And you'd obviously add blocks of time, events, and preparatory activities, and schedule them depending on what those particular things happen to be. In this further example, I've added some more columns, inserted them here, to add specific dates that relate to, say, members of staff in the team. Now, probably don't want those to be visible all the time, so you can just see what the dates are against these major activities. So a useful thing with a planner like this is to block off certain parts, parts of the schedule. We'll select those columns, go into Data, and then we want group. What that does is it creates a little handle here. I can then collapse those if I need to, pull them out if I need to look at those dates, but they're not in the way, and I can see the totality of the planner and all the different activities easily in one view. And obviously you can zoom up and down to see more or less of that at a time.